This episode is proudly brought to you by Santa.
And I always tell women to say, Mogel, Rana ka wena. When people see you, particularly as the executive mayor, even the smallest challenge of water, they feel that she is there, she's able to then resolve the matter. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And sometimes all these things become too much for you and very emotional. What matters to me most are my family, my kids.
Welcome to What Matters Most with George Mahlakgane. Today, sitting with me is the first female executive mayor of Capricorn District Municipality, chairperson of the Women's League in Limpopo. She is an activist and a mother. Join me as I welcome Councillor Mamedupi Teffo. Executive Mayor Mamedupi Teffo, I am so excited to have you here today. How are you?
Thank you so much, Lishira, and thank you so much for also inviting me here on What Matters Most with George Mahlakgane. It's my first time, by the way, doing podcast.
Oh, then I'm so grateful. I'm actually very excited that you actually agreed to do this with me. I'm just going to start with icebreaker questions. What's the one thing that people would be shocked to know about you?
Well, I'm an overthinker. I overanalyze each and every situation, and I'm a very strict person. That is one thing that people don't really know about me, and when people see me, they just see Mamedupi, the political activist. I am an overthinker. Every situation, whether it's political, whether it's at home, I tend to overthink. And at times when I'm organizing event, and I tend to panic a lot. So it's one thing that people don't know. And my panic also assists me to a point that I need things to be orderly.
I think that's what makes you great then. And then do you have a guilty pleasure in terms of maybe a food, a show, or a hobby that you take in?
Well, I love mashocha. I love eggs. I can eat as many eggs in a day as possible.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love soccer. The first time I met George was at the Peter Mgaba Stadium. By that time, I had a responsibility at the Polokwane local municipality as a member of mayoral committee responsible for sports. Even as I speak to you now, over the weekend, I'll be spending time at home watching a sport, soccer in particular, and netball.
And if we had to give you a day off with absolutely no responsibilities, what would you do?
I wish I could have more days off very often, but unfortunately with the nature of my work, it's sometimes difficult. But when I get a day off, I make sure that I go home and spend time with my mother, spend time with my extended families and my friends. I like doing that a lot. I like catching up in my own village with my own community, the people that know me the most.
And before we get into anything else, who is Mamedupi Teffo at her core? What part of yourself do you think people really get to see?
Well, Mamedupi Teffo is someone who started from a humble beginning. Mamedupi Teffo is particularly an activist, a mother, and is a person who's very loving and caring at the same time. But importantly, Mamedupi Teffo is a person who has been shaped by the values of her own community where she grew up in. So in general, I'm a family-oriented person.
And as a woman in leadership, how do you succeed and guide in a space that is traditionally dominated by men?
I must tell you, Lishira, that the first time that the political party announced that I was going to be the executive mayor of the Capricorn District Municipality, it was a bit overwhelming for me, particularly because I was the first female executive mayor. The municipality was previously led by men. So one thing that perhaps that I needed to make clear was that I was going to be time and again judged not on my capacities but on my gender. But importantly, I knew that people always want to compare your leadership skills with your predecessors, and mostly those who were men. And I took a resolute decision to say that I must adapt quickly. I must then be assertive, and I must also make sure that I put an extra effort. But importantly, as you are aware, Lishira, you are a woman like myself. I needed to leverage on this special strength that we have as women, that is of being empathetic to people's situation. So my skill was that in every situation, I need to then try to understand the challenges from the people that I was working with, or the people that I'm working with, from their own frame of reference. But what also assisted me the most is that I believe in teamwork, and also I believe in continuous learning. So I wanted to learn more of the type of work that I'm going to do, but knowing very well that whatever that I'm going to do, I will be compared with men. Unfortunately, that is what it is.
And what do you think are the strengths or traits that actually helped you to rise to where you are today?
Being honest and trustworthy, particularly to the people that you are serving as a leader, the people that you are working with, and also understanding that particularly in the line of my work, you need time and again to be able to account to your constituency, which in the main is the community.
And there's a young woman out there who's watching this podcast right now who feels like her dreams are out of reach. What would you say to her?
The first thing that every time when I meet with women, particularly young women, I tell them that the world owes you nothing. The world as women owes us nothing, and we must make sure that we believe in ourselves, we believe in our dreams, and have a plan to work on achieving our dreams. And I always tell women to say, Mugel, you must make sure that you fight for your dream. No one must tell you that you can't do it. You can do it, but you need to work on achieving that particular dream. And where possible, you need also to surround yourself with people who will assist you to be able to reach your dream. People who are, you need to be in the correct circle. But one thing that you must never do is to give up, never give up.
Who do you think helped you the most in terms of your journey and becoming this person? Like if we're saying be mindful of the people around you and all that, who do you think played that biggest role for you? Who do you go to and say, thank you, I am this because of you?
My mother. I think my mother had me at a very young age, and growing up was not easy. My mother was working in a farm around Muleji, a farm called Mike's Chicken. But despite of all the challenges, I was a very confident child because of how my mother sacrificed a lot for me to become the brand Mamedupi Teffo. I owe a lot to my mother. I think my mother is one person who continuously believed in me, even when I could not believe in myself. So her sacrifices have made me to be the person that I am today, and she continuously encouraged me, Orangwanaka. I believe that you can be whatever that you want to. Please don't be like me, because life is very difficult if you are not educated. So she always made sure that I have everything, or I had everything, even growing up. Though the situation at home was very bad. Imagine being a single mother, being a mother at a very young age, and but she provided for me and my younger sister.
And do you think leadership looks different on a woman?
Of course it does. It does look different. Women are more better leaders than most men, if I may put it.
I agree.
And how women's leadership, well, I'll speak of myself perhaps as a leader, is that as women leaders, we are more person-centered oriented. We believe in creating that conducive environment for the people that we are working with to be more participating, and we also believe and give them the space to be able to contribute positively to the institution and encourage them. So it's about collective work as women, as we did. But for men, they are more of a command. They are more of controlling, but they are more of leading. That's why in the environment that I'm in politics, men, sometimes when you call them leadership, they think that, you know what, yeah, we are leadership. So we really are better leaders as we can be compared to men. And even now, you see, the province is run by a woman. There's more activities that you see in our own province, though we appreciate also that men contribute, and there are some men who are supporting us women to be where we are, but we are better leaders because it's in our nature. We're more empathetic than men.
That's true. And in moments when it all feels a bit too much, I mean, you never rest, as you said. You're always working. In moments when it feels all too much, what helps you back up a bit? What helps you relax?
You know, and there are moments like that when you feel that perhaps you are not enough for the position, when you feel like giving up, when you are overwhelmed by the challenges, particularly in my space of politics, in my space of work in the municipality, where when people see you, they see that perhaps all their problems are resolved. When people see you, particularly as the executive mayor, even the smallest challenge of water, they feel that she is there, she's able to then resolve the matter. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And sometimes all these things become too much for you and very emotional. But then when you think of giving up, you then pause and think that, by the way, it's no longer about Mamedupi as a person. This is about being there for all the rural women, all the urban women who, when they see Mamedupi Teffo up there, they feel that we are also represented. So whenever you think of giving up, you must just pause and allow yourself to feel that in that space that, you know what, it's difficult, and go through those feelings, and where possible, perhaps even reach out to some other women leaders who are in your situation, or not necessarily need to be in your situation. Even rural women, in churches, they are able to advise you or what's working, hang in there. So you think of those women who are hopeful. You think of that young girl from a poor background like myself, and you say that, you know what, if I give up now, it means that this young girl will not have hope to say that even if you are from a poor background, but there's still hope. If you work hard, there is still hope. And you think immediately of that, then you say, no, I need to push. But importantly, when you're thinking of giving up, you know, then you realize that you'll not only be failing yourself, but you'll also be failing all the women who trust you. Yeah. But importantly, you will also be confirming that indeed patriarchy can win. And the men will always be saying, we told you, she's a woman. She's not strong enough. She is weak. So as difficult as it is, you fall, you stand up, you rise, you move on as a woman, knowing that I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for all the women who other people said that they can't. So that is what has always kept me going in difficult situations. And it can be overwhelming, that I must tell you. It can be very emotional, where you feel that you are on your own. Yeah. But, you know, there is a saying that there is a pull-down syndrome amongst women. Where I am, I have been supported mostly by women. I have been supported mostly by women in politics, women in churches, women that I interact on a daily basis. I was just telling Brother George to say, you know what, the first activity that I went and addressed, where I was invited by him, I was so encouraged by all the women who were making presentation there, starting from nail technicians, and I got inspired to say, you know what, there's more that we can learn and from women, and as women we need to continuously support each other. So I am Mamedupi Teffo, the brand, because there were many women, many women in all these offices who carried me through, who supported me. So when I feel like giving up, I need to take a call to say, hey, my sister, it's tough. And sometimes if there's one thing that we are missing as women and as leaders, you know, just taking a call and call a fellow woman to say, how are you doing? That is enough. How are you doing? Because people think that we have it all together. But unfortunately, we are just trying. We are just trying our level best. So we need that call. So you should call me Lishira or Mera. How are you doing? Believe you me, it's enough.
While you are enjoying the show at home and watching, please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and click that notification bell to get notified whenever we post a new video. I actually love what you're saying when you say women support each other, because it's sometimes rare and people don't believe that women really stick together. And what do your children teach you about life? Like, I know that you are a mother. What would you say that they teach you about life and even maybe about leadership?
My children, I must say, they are my biggest cheerleaders, but equally my biggest critics.
Yeah, I heard when you were talking earlier, you were like, oh, my son is not here to tell me about like my makeup.
Both of my children, I have, my firstborn is Refilwe, she's in university. My secondborn is Kaludi, she's still in primary school. And one thing that my children told me is to love unconditionally. And my children will always encourage me to say, Mama, you must live and live your life to the fullest. But importantly, as and when you do your responsibilities, don't forget that to us, you are a mother. And unfortunately, they know that role that I've been given to them. I'm their mother. And when I'm at home, at times I'll be reminded, more, and we want our mother, because sometimes you can carry the pressure from work to home, and it affects mostly the children. But if there's one thing that also my children has taught me, is to be more patient and again to be more accommodative, because I try to spend most of my time with them, but they also understand that I need to share them with the entire community that I am saving. So they have made that reservation to say that, okay, we understand that you need to go to work and do 1, 2, 3. So I'm learning a lot from those two people in my life, those two special people in my life. But again, they have also told me to be more confident and believe in myself. I remember the first time I was given this responsibility, and I would try to practice my speeches. I would stand in front of my 12, by that time I think my son was 9, then I would sit and try to read my speech, and he would say, Mama, you keep on saying, can you pause with your So I learn a lot from my kids. My daughter, she's my stylist, so she would always say, Ma, when you go out there, you represent me. So you can't go out there looking like that. So you represent me. You must realize that I'm also a brand. I'm not you. I'm also a brand. But importantly, my kids taught me that they do not need to be known, or they not need to be judged as being the children of Mamedupi the mayor.
Yeah.
They are individuals themselves, and in fact they don't even like it when I go to their soccer games, because my son would say, "Ma, you know what, I want a coach and everyone to put me in the team because I can play, not because they see you and they see, oh, because he is the son of the mayor, we must then accommodate, put him in the squad." So that is one challenge, that they want to be free, they want to be ordinary children and have an ordinary life.
And speaking on motherhood, I read somewhere that you dropped out of your diploma in IT, but later you went back to complete your BA in Health Sciences and Social Services. What motivated you to actually go back?
You know, if there's one part of my life that I like sharing, even though one might say that it might look as a failure, because very often we do not speak of our failure. And speaking of our failure would then make ordinary people and ordinary women to understand that we are also human beings, and even if they had failed in life, but there's still an opportunity for you to be able to achieve whatever that you wanted to achieve. Yes, indeed, I went to study at the University of Technology, and did my IT in Rankwa campus. Unfortunately, due to pregnancy and some of the challenges that I experienced when I'm at school, just this girl from a rural village, staying in a one tin house room, and boom, you pass, your mother take all her savings. They were not enough by the time. I remember I went to Garankua, carrying only 4,000 rand. I didn't know that when you get to school, you must get a room and you must buy bedding, you must register. So I only had 4,000 rand by that time, and that was the only money that my mother had, the only money that my mother has saved. But for some reason I managed to register and get a room, and part of the money then I also bought myself a bedding, because I just came with only the clothes that I had inside my bag. They will call it I don't want to call it so that but that bag that with the colorful bag is Mr. Masondo would be angry with me if I call it. New environment, and the pressure was too much, and unfortunately for me I got pregnant on my second year. And you know, when you do IT, and if you can break, when you go back, you think the syllabus now is you. They're dealing with a system, systems. So then, and because I could not perform well in class, it means I would no longer qualify even for TEFSA or NSFAS, as it's called now. So it took me a year. I had to sit and not do anything and be ashamed that I must go home and face my community. Here is the Mamedupi, the bright child growing up in school. Here is a mother who sacrificed a lot and took all her savings for her to go to school. Now she is coming back not with the diploma, but with diploma ya matlhonyana. But I think that was a turning point for me. Difficult as it was, embarrassing as it was, I had to go home and face my mother to say, "Ma, this is the situation." Unfortunately, but it took me a year, seated there, not doing anything. And I'm saying this because I know that there are some of the children, or that some of the women, even those who are in tertiary, who just you went there, went to school, your family members send you money, they think that, oh, our child is still studying, is in school. You stay there. Some of them, it's difficult for them to come back when there's time and try to acknowledge their mistake and share their mistakes, that, you know what, Ma, I could not succeed. I failed. And what is it that I must do? Then I came and spoke to my mother to say, "Ma, I came back. I don't have a diploma, an IT diploma, and even worse, I am pregnant." Then I realized that this might be a game over for me. And then I sat at home, but then my mother said to me, you know what, I'm still going to give you a chance to go back, because I still believe that you can do it. Because if I don't encourage you to go back to school and study, and this time do whatever that you are comfortable to study, it means that I am also going to be responsible for this child. If you don't, you are still going to face challenges that I face. You are still going to work in the same very farm that I worked for. Then I went to UNISA, and luckily for me, when I was at Tshwane University, I was not using NSFAS. The only challenge, when I applied for it, I was no longer qualified because of my results. Then I went to UNISA and inquired and registered for the degree that I graduated with. And I was able to dust myself and move through the support, once again, of the most important person in my life, my mother. She has been there throughout. Even now, with this position, my mother is always there. You know, my mother is one person who I can call her my advisor. My mother makes sure that I always keep in touch with whatever that is happening in my own community. My mother keeps a diary of every baby shower in the community, every wedding, and she would remind me, Mamedupi, no. On this day, you must make time because come on next door, one baby shower, and you need to be there. So that is, I love that woman.
And let's just talk about money a bit, because it's a conversation that many people shy away from. What are your strict personal finance rules that you don't bend?
Live within your means. Live within your means. The reason why so many politicians and so many people are in trouble now is that they live beyond their means. Stick to your budget. But one thing that I've learned throughout the years, which many might differ with me, is that there's no need for you to invest while you still have debts. I believe in settling debts first, so that I can reduce the interest, instead of me going and investing 100,000 and I go and while I'm still having some debts. So if I have a little money with me, I would make sure that I settle my debts, because the longer time you take to repay your debts, the more the interest, and sometimes it becomes difficult to be able to pay that. So always live within your means, but importantly, where possible, if you can, make sure that you create multiple streams of income. And always make sure that for the most important things in life, you are insured. Everything that matters to you. And you know, the first thing that I did when I went, when I was appointed as a counselor, was to have a life cover. Knowing that I have these small people that I must look after. In case something happens to me, I must do so. And the other time I also took insurance for the house that I'm staying in, so that in case something happens to the house, then the house is insured. So everything, make sure that financially, I know people will say, but we're paying a lot of money, but it's necessary. It's necessary because sometimes disasters strike you when you are least expected and you have nothing by that time. So importantly, settle your debt before you can focus on investment.
And live within your means.
Live within your means. Very important.
I'm going to write that down somewhere in the room, just so I always remember. And I mean, you deal with a lot of community, in terms of community expectations, and also I am sure you do get criticized a lot, and you do get negative feedback and all that. How do you deal with that? How do you not hide under the covers and say, not today, I'm not showing up because I'm just tired of the negativity. It's wearing down on me.
It's part of the job. No one said it was going to be easy. And one thing that we must acknowledge and appreciate is that at times, not everyone understands the nature of how local government works. When people see government, they see that government must resolve all their challenges, unknowingly that you also need budgets to be able to give them water. So part of my values was to develop within the institution and also have that sense of developing a culture of ethical leadership, which is being honest to yourself and honest to the community that you are leading.
Yeah.
Even if things are difficult for you, if they say to you, Executive Mayor, we want water, if you can't give people water because you don't have budget, don't just say to them, I will see what I will do. You must tell them that we wish we could, but at this time and point, the budget that we have is not enough. But unfortunately, with the type of work that you do, you also need to develop emotional intelligence for you to be able to handle pressure, for you to be able to handle all different behaviors within the community. As a leader, you need to understand that that's been part of leadership. People will insult you, not because they are disrespectful towards you or not because they hate you, but because they feel that you must provide for their own solution, and you need to understand it that way. But the minute when people, you feel that you will respond to each and every person who writes on you on Facebook to say, that mayor is useless, no, you don't do that. It's part of the work. It's part of the job. It's not an easy job, unfortunately. You need to take everything. And understand how to deal with it, to say, okay, I feel their pain, and put yourself in their situation to say, what if it was me not having, imagine if you're not having water for 5 days. I've had several marched, and indeed people did not have water. They came and marched, and they would insult, they would say this. But as a leader, I need to understand that it means people are complaining, and then I must do something, not see it as an insult.
And when all is said and done, what legacy, not as a politician, as Mamedupi Teffo, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Well, I would want to be remembered, the fact that I'm an activist, it won't go, it's part of me.
Yeah.
And a political activist, a gender activist, and a community activist. So I would want to be remembered as someone who has made a difference, particularly in my own community and also the entire district. I would want to be remembered as a person that I've made a difference from every other individual that I interact with. So I want to be remembered as that person where I had an interview with Lishira, and after some years, Lishira said, you know what, this is what I've learned from Mamedupi.
Yeah.
But importantly, I want to be remembered as someone who lived her life to the fullest.
Yes.
I want to be remembered as someone who confronted the stereotypes to say, you know what, she's a woman, she's from a rural area of Mulej, therefore she can't do it. I want to be remembered as a woman who loved so much, who loved her children, who loved her community, but I also want to be remembered as someone who cared and cared deeply, and someone who has feelings, someone who's not afraid to say, to tell the truth. When I'm no longer here, people must mention to say, if Comrade Mamedupi or if Mamedupi was here, she was not going to tell us, she was going to tell us, or no, this is not correct. So I also want to be remembered, as I've indicated, as a gender activist, as someone who contributed to the fight against gender-based violence. Yes, I also want to be remembered as someone who advocated for women rights within my own political organization and also within the entire province of Limpopo. Someone who, when I leave the institution that I'm leading, women will feel free, women would be having a more senior position. I'm inspired by Brother George Mahlakgane here, the way he is for women programs, women emancipation. Every time when I go through his Facebook, I see him contributing meaningfully to the upliftment and empowerment of women. And that's how we will always remember that.
And honestly, Linda, I'm sitting here on behalf of like our listeners, you know, and I will say I am truly inspired, and I am so happy that you are sitting here with me. Just one last question. As per the namesake, what matters most to you, and how do you protect what matters most to you?
What matters to me most are my family, my kids. And I make sure that my kids, no matter what happens, they must always adhere to the values that I was taught, the values that were, the values that I inherited from my mother, the values that also were instilled into me by my own community. My kids should be able to know that their mother loved them. My kids should also be able to know that you must respect people, every other individual, regardless of their status in the society. And I must make sure that they are the ones who matters the most. After all, when I do not have all these positions, I will still be left with my family members, because we don't choose our family members. All of you, but those are the people that will not forget that their mother so that is why no matter how busy I am, I make sure that I create memories. And all of us, we must make sure that we create memories. Life is too short.
Yes.
So when you are gone, it must not be all those people, your friends and comrades who remembers you, and your kids don't even have memories of their mother.
Yeah.
So my family, my kids are the people who matters the most.
Executive Mayor Mamedupi Teffo, it's been a pleasure having you here on this show today. I know that this conversation has shifted something in me, and I'm leaving with a lot today. So thank you so much for making the time, and good luck on everything else going forward.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so happy and I'm so honored. Thank you.
Thank you.
This episode was proudly brought to you by Santa.